What's happening, everybody? Justin Czar with bowhunting.com. I am here with another hunt ready gear segment, helping you guys and gals become better bow hunters out there. One of the questions we get asked most frequently around here is, what gear do we use to film our hunts, and what do you all need to start filming your hunts? And that's a really loaded question. It's kind of like, what do I need to get started bow hunting? You have all ends of the spectrum depending on what your budget is, depending on what your goals are. So today, my goal is to kind of just run you through 3 or 4 different ways that you guys can film your own hunts this fall to varying different quality levels, right? So we're gonna start with the absolute most basic stuff, and then we're gonna work our way up towards the gear that Todd, myself, and a bunch of the other guys on the Bow Hunter Die team use. So starting with the simplest of all simple things. It's going to be a camera that's mounted or attached to your weapon, whether you're using a bow, a crossbow, a gun, anything like that. The simplest way to film your hunt is going to be strapping or mounting a camera onto your bow, in this particular case, turning it on and shooting an animal. I've done this quite a few times in my life, and I will say quality-wise, there's no question this is the worst footage you're going to get. I think a lot of people go into, trying to film their hunts this way with a certain expectation of like what they want to have happen. And then they actually manage to hit record, draw their bow back and shoot at a deer. And they look at the footage and they go, oh, man, that's not really what I was hoping for. So what I would say is, if you don't have any other option, if this is the only thing you can afford to do, and this is your tolerance for carrying extra gear and extra cameras into the woods is literally, I want to strap one onto my bow and hit a button and record, then by all means, you can do this. Just be aware that, when you hit that button and record and you pick that weapon up and you're moving it around, it's going to be shaky, right? You're going to come to full draw on your bow, and when you shoot, whether you're shooting a bow, a crossbow, a gun, there's going to be vibration, there's going to be recoil, I should say. So the problem with this type of setup is that the thing we want to see the most, which is the arrow in flight impacting the animal, that's the worst quality footage you're gonna get, is from a bow mounted camera. No camera out there is going to be able to fix that problem. You're gonna have vibration, it's gonna be a little bit shaky. And then what tends to happen after the shot, what do? We shoot and our bow falls away as that animal runs away. So now we miss all that footage of the animal running away that can, help either tell a story, or it can help you as the hunter understand how did the animal react, where did the animal run off to, all the benefits you get of being able to watch your hunt back. You kind of lose unless you have the forethought to actually follow the animal wherever it goes. I see a lot of folks on YouTube, specifically the last, year or so, maybe year or 2, that are promoting the heck out of this magnetic mount that goes on your bow that you can slap your phone on and put it on there and film your hunts. And none of those people are actually using that to film their hunts. Maybe they're using it as a supplement to the rest of this gear, but none of those people are going out in the woods and using only that to film their hunts. And there's a reason for that. I'm just telling you guys right now, don't be disappointed if the quality of your footage, if you do something like this, isn't what you expect it to be. So again, this is the beginning, have no budget, don't want to carry any extra gear option. I just have a GoPro right here as an example. This is a basic clamp mount that you can get from Amazon or anywhere, just mounted onto my stabilizer. Very simple, one button. People can use their phone with that magnetic mount like I was talking about. The problem with that is there's a lot that has to go into that and has to happen before you actually shoot the animal. One of the biggest downfalls of filming your own hunts is the timeliness of it, right? Unless you plan on keeping your phone on your bow the entire time, which most people aren't, you have to see the animal, grab your phone, turn the camera on, hit record, mount it on there, then clip in and shoot. And it doesn't sound like much when I talk about it right now, but trust me, in the heat of the moment, it's a lot of stuff to remember to do. And I find that a lot of folks have just kind of say, screw it, and they abandon ship, when push comes to shove and things get hectic, and then they just don't film it. So proceed with caution if you're gonna do something like that. So Moving on, right? I don't want to mount a camera on my weapon. What else can I do? One of the things that I think personally people overlook quite a bit is mounting a camera statically to the tree that they're hunting out of or to their blind and using that to actually film their hunt. This is something that we do a lot of. Generally, it's supplemental footage, so it's going to be used in conjunction with our what we call our big or our main cameras. But if I was a person that wanted to film my own hunts and I didn't want to carry a lot of gear into the woods with me and I was just looking for something really simple, I would do something probably like this. So what you could see that I've got here is I have this clamp mount that's just clamped onto a branch. You know, this is representing, the tree that I'm hunting out of. I have a 360 camera mounted up here. And why I like the 360 camera for this particular instance is it's capturing everything all the way around me. No matter what angle I have to shoot an animal, it's gonna be captured on this camera. If I was using this actually in the woods, I would get it farther out from the tree. I'd probably get it somewhere out here, right, away from the tree so that the tree isn't blocking the view in case I need to shoot an animal that way. But there's a variety of different ways that you can attach these types of cameras to the tree. You don't need a 360. You can use a GoPro like this. So if I was to unscrew the GoPro off the bow, I can put it on this mount. The problem with the GoPro is it's only gonna get a certain field of view. So what I do is if I'm using a GoPro mounted to my tree, I prefer to actually mount it to my bow holder, which is represented here by this muddy bow holder. So what I'll do is I'll buy a clamp, I'll clamp that GoPro out here, I'll have it over my shoulder where my main shot is gonna be, where I'm planning on shooting an animal. Now, if that animal happens to come the other direction, all I need to do is push this bar and re-angle my camera to wherever that animal is gonna be, and then I'm gonna shoot from there. So for me, I think this is the simplest way. Again, if I had to pick between this and the bow mounted, I'm going static tree mounted, and just making sure that I move it around before I shoot to actually get the most important thing, which is the shot. So I would do this before I did that. Now what you guys can see here, what I've got is I have a large external battery pack. This is actually a giant pack. You don't need one that big. I have a couple others here I could show you guys. Representative of maybe a typical size. You might use something like this. I keep them in these little bags. Again, you can buy this stuff on Amazon for cheap, little mesh bag. I keep it in there with a S-beaner on it. I can clip that to anything, and then I plug this battery into whatever camera I'm using, and I let this camera run the entire hunt. I never turn it off. The key here is you need a big battery and you need a big SD card in order to pull that off. And the reason that I do that, again, goes back to what I talked about earlier. If you're in the heat of the moment and you have to see an animal coming, grab your bow, get ready, so often the one thing you're gonna forget to do is reach up and turn that on. Turn your camera on. Plus it's just extra movement. It's an extra opportunity for the animal to bust you and to ruin your hunt. So for me, I put this thing up in the tree. When I get there, I hit record and I let it record my entire hunt. That way it captures everything that happens. If I do something stupid and draw my bow out of the tree, which has happened before, if I spook an animal, if something sneaks up behind me and I'm playing on my phone and all of a sudden I look up and oh crap, there he is. All that's captured when that camera is running the entire time. So again, we're using 360s. These are Insta360, I think is the One RS. It's a pretty expensive camera. Again, you don't need to do this. You can get away with, any model of GoPro is gonna work. You just have to remember to move it around to capture. Now, if we wanna progress beyond that, right? And you wanna get better footage, something where you can move, pan a camera around, follow an animal coming in, zoom in a little bit better, right? But you don't want to step up to the big camera setup. There are some great kind of mid-level options these days. And the one that we're looking at here is the Baton arm from 4th Arrow. Now, there's a lot of camera arms that have come on the market these last couple of years that are going to be similar in price, in function, in size to this Baton arm, where they're really designed for the mobile hunter, the person that wants to be lightweight, compact, not carry a ton of camera gear into the woods with them, but they want something that's going to give them a little bit more quality of their footage. So the Baton arm is great because it folds down, super compact. It's adjustable. Basically, it's got a little knob that you pull out here and you can adjust up and down. to get your camera level. And then when you mount it, you actually can adjust it side to side to make sure that it's totally level where you want it to be. But quick, easy, quiet. On the end of this, we just have a very small fluid head. Again, this one is from Fourth Arrow. So we just, again, very small fluid head with a cell phone adapter on it. So again, you can use, the nice thing about the cell phone nowadays is they are taking, for the most part, like 4K video. But again, if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna go the route of cell phone, you're pretty much just gonna need to leave it in here the entire time. I would not want to be playing on my phone and have to, use this screw thing to, mount my phone on here, screw it down, turn my camera on, and then film when an animal came in. I'd prefer to just leave it here, click it open my camera, and then I can pan, tilt, zoom, I can't really zoom unless you wanted to, pinch and zoom in, but you can pan and tilt and follow that animal around. You can spin the camera around. You can get good interviews. There's a lot of stuff that you could do with your phone without having to buy a dedicated camera. Again, the problem is we're usually using our phones to do other stuff. And I just think the transition of using your phone or being on your phone to filming is probably a little bit too much that I want to deal with. But again, budget-wise, if you don't have the budget to go buy a camera, then I would absolutely look at using something like this. All right, so with this Baton arm here, you don't have to use your phone. You could put a GoPro on it. You could put a small handy cam. I just don't have one available. So you could put a smaller camera on this and actually film. You don't have to use a phone. So again, if you wanted to spend the money on the arm and the fluid head and then a small camcorder, you certainly could do that. But again, if you don't have the money, you don't have the budget, and you want to use your phone, you could do a lot of good stuff with your phone. Again, just be careful about the timeliness of actually filming your hunts. So next, or last, I should say, we're gonna progress to a setup that's gonna be really similar to what Todd and I and the rest of our team use during the year. And that's gonna be a full-blown camera arm that's fully adjustable with a larger camera on it, with a microphone, with a remote lane controller. And this is the setup that I use to film. Well, every time I'm saddle hunting, or most of the times when I'm saddle hunting, I'm gonna use this arm here. This is a triple arm, as you can see, so it's got multiple joints in it. When I'm hunting out of a tree stand, I'm gonna use a longer double arm because I feel like it's a little bit easier, especially filming on my offhand side. But for purposes of today, I wanted to keep the smaller arm because we're kind of working in a tight space right here. So what you guys can see here that I've got, this is a Sony, I believe it's an AX100 camera. Guys, I've had this thing for I don't even know how long, 5-6 years, something like that. It is just beat to death from going in and out of my pack and in and out of the woods. This thing's been all over the country with me. It's a 4K camera. What I like about it is it's got a 1-inch sensor in it. And what that means specifically, it's gonna be better in low light. So it's gonna be able to absorb more light, and it's gonna buy me those couple extra minutes at the end of the night and those few minutes in the morning that are really important. That's where these smaller cameras, your GoPros, your phones, stuff like that, those are really gonna lose light quick. So you're not gonna get any footage, or at least not any good footage, at first and last light. That's where the bigger camera is really gonna come in handy. Now, I know a lot of, the real pros out there, they're using even bigger cameras with better glass and better sensors in them. But for what we do here at Bowhunter Die, this camera honestly is perfect. It's small, compact, it's easy for me to carry. I'm mostly self-filming, so I gotta carry all my camera gear, my saddle gear, all my hunting stuff with me. So again, this is a Sony AX100. I think Todd's using a Canon something. It also has a 1-inch sensor in it. So for me, I'm kind of looking for two main things in a camera when I'm filming my hunts. I'm looking for the big sensor that's good in low light, and I'm looking for it to be compatible with a remote control. So this is a lane controller. This is a VariZoom. I have another one here from another company called Liebeck, I think. So this one's more of a rocker to zoom in and out, but the gist is the same for both of these. You want to be able to control your zoom in and out. I can start and stop recording, and in a lot of cases I can control my manual focus from here without having to reach up and touch my camera. I can do it all from here. So generally speaking, where that comes in handy is, when you're filming, I say you're holding your bow in one hand, animals approaching, you're gripped back here. I can zoom in, zoom out, start, stop, record, focus, do all of that with one single hand without having to, get up here and be manually moving stuff around on the camera. So I can pan and tilt around, I can go up and down, I can zoom in, zoom out. Once I get to a spot where, okay, that animal's gonna stop, I'm gonna shoot that animal right there. My hand comes off. For me, I'm using a thumb release. I grab draw back and shoot. And then after I shoot, grab the camera, follow the animal afterwards. So again, this is a 4th arrow. This is the 3.0 shoulder and base. What I like about it is that it's toolless. So it just has a thumb screw here on the side, and I can actually move this thing all the way around. This comes apart. So this piece right here I'm carrying in my pack. I strap it onto the tree. I level it out here first. Once I get it where I want it, I can screw that down, and then I can drop my arm in, and then I can make any fine tuning adjustments from there. So again, this is the triple arm. So this is what I use when I'm self-filming out of a saddle. I'm generally using the longer 2-piece ghost arm when I'm hunting out of a tree stand. You can see I've kind of modified the ratchet strap that it came with a little bit just because I like this setup better for me. But yeah, 4th arrow, 3.0. This is the 3.0 shoulder with the talon base, and I'm going to show you guys that real quick because I know a lot of people are concerned with like how this stuff packs around. So I'll just show you guys. When I'm leaving at the end of the night, and say my hunt is over, my first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my microphone off because I'm going to store this separately. I don't want to break it. This one's actually kind of already broke. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to put this in my pack. Next thing, I'm going to unhook my link controller. I'm going to take my camera off. I usually keep my camera inside like a stocking cap or something like that before I put it in my bag just to stop it from getting beat up, although it hasn't really worked too well. So I'm going to take these off. I'm going to put these in my pack. I'm going to pull this arm out. You can see with this triple arm, it folds down nice and compact. For me, I've got my link controller kind of all taped and permanently mounted on here so it doesn't come off. That's going to go in my pack next. And then the last thing I have to worry about is my base. So at the end of the night, I'm going to undo my ratchet strap like so. I use a strap with a hook on it because for me, it's just a little bit easier than having to fish stuff around. So now you can see this is the talon base, right? These are the 4 talons that dig into the tree. What I love about this base is when I'm done at the end of the night, these talons fold in like so they're not getting hung up on everything. It's a lot more compact. And then this small little guy right here just gets dropped right into my pack. I like to put things in kind of chronological order. So I'm going to put microphone, camera, arm, then I'm going to put my base in last. That way when I come back to hunt tomorrow, the first thing I pull out of my pack is my base. I attach it to the tree, then my arm, then my camera gear. So I put it away in a very specific order. So this is the 3.0 shoulder with the talon base. Next, we will take this Baton arm, and I'll take this off the tree, show you guys how this all works, just so you can get an idea of how compact it is. So take your phone or your camera or whatever it is off. I'm gonna move this guy kind of just out of the way for right now. Put him back here. We'll undo this strap. Comes with a nice long ratchet strap, so in case you're in a big tree, we're gonna pull this off. So in this case, you have to pull the strap all the way through the ratchet so it doesn't have like a hook on it. So I'm gonna pull this all the way through to get it off the tree. Now, the thing with the Baton arm, in order to take advantage of the full compactness of it, you do need to remove your fluid head. So I'm gonna screw the fluid head down and I'm just gonna pull it off real quick. This is super easy. It takes all of 5 seconds to unscrew this thing. This is gonna go in my pack. Now what you're gonna see is the talon arm is actually gonna fold. Let's move this strap. It's gonna fold back around like so. And then when you pull this knob out, this piece is gonna fold down. So that's it right there. So that's literally the entire arm. You could take this thing and just shove it in your back pocket. You can put it, in the outside pocket of a pack, something like this, right? And that's it. You're ready to go home and enjoy some Casey's pizza on your ride home. So the last thing I'm gonna talk about for guys filming your hunts or gals is just the general need for a GoPro on a little kind of, I don't even know what you call this, kind of a selfie stick. I find that when I'm filming my hunts nowadays, this is the camera that I use probably more than any other camera. It's gonna be this one. I have a variety of different mounts for it, but I love this camera for doing interviews at the truck, walking in, climbing into my stands, It's great for tracking. It's great for filming rubs and scrapes and sign on your way in or your way out of your spots. It's just really handy to have a camera like this that you could tuck into a pocket. For me, I usually tuck it behind my binocular harness. I just let it ride kind of right here behind my Alaska Guide harness. And then when I need it, I pull it out and I can film with it. So for me, when I go into the woods, I'm typically carrying this GoPro here for most of my interviews. I am carrying my 3.0 base with the triple arm, my camera, my microphone, and then I'm also carrying my 360 cam with my battery and my mount. This is pretty much everything that I take into the woods to film my hunt. So I'm kind of covered from 3 angles. I got this one for all my interviews, walking in, doing stuff. I have this one, which is the most important for filming the kill shots, hopefully, filming animals out in the woods. And then I have this one as kind of my backup overhead, not gonna miss a shot because this guy's running the entire time over my head. The last thing I didn't really show you guys, this is the saddle light arm. So it's going to be similar to this arm that I'm using here, but it's just a lot smaller. You can see this is the base. So it's a little bit more compact, you know, in size. So this is the base that goes onto the tree. So it uses a cam over buckle, so there's no ratchet. So it's a little bit quieter. This goes right into the tree, and then this small little compact arm. Of course, all my cables are getting hung up, but this little guy here, again, I have a small fluid head with a link controller on it, and then this actually slides into there so that I can film. So this is, again, really good option for saddle hunting. For me, personally, I'm using this one only because it just means less stuff for me to change around. I might have an evening hunt where I'm hunting out of a saddle, so I'm gonna take this setup with me. The next morning, if I'm gonna hunt out of a tree stand, I need this base with my other longer arm. So I'll pull this out of my pack, put the longer arm in. It's just a little bit easier for me to maneuver stuff around. So that is everything that we use to film our hunts, and just some hopefully helpful tips on how you guys can film your hunts out there this fall. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback on this super long video on how you can film your hunts, make sure you drop those comments below. We will do our best to respond. Hunting seasons are open already, so good luck to all of you who are already in the woods. Unfortunately, I will not be out until October, so I got just under a month to go, and we'll be out chasing whitetails here in Illinois. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.